Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm super happy that you're here today. I didn't really film a proper entrance to this video, so we are just getting right to the meat of the build. This is, I think, one of our last island entrances that we're going to be doing on this series, and we are trying out no terraforming today. I've got to say, we've tried out lots of different themes so far in this series, but I was kind of extra intimidated by no terraforming, and I've managed to put this off for several months now. Honestly, I rely on terraforming so much to provide like a backdrop for all the builds that I do. Anytime I place a building, or if I'm doing like a simple panel build, it always has cliffs behind it. So this was really pushing me far out of my comfort zone. I decided to move my resident rep's house to the front of the entrance because I thought it would help and give the build just a little bit of structure. I saw somebody on Instagram, actually several people, and I can't remember the specific creators right now, but people have been posting a lot of like symmetrical flower fields with like different rows, and I really liked the look of that and thought it could be like a good structure for the island entrance. So we're not doing flower fields today, but I am going to lean on like a kind of structured rows of pathing type of build, and we're going to be working on creating like a little farmscape in front of my resident rep house. I honestly really liked the way that this build turned out, and it kind of inspired me to stop the entrance series. Just a little bit of a foreshadowing here, because I loved the codes that we use in this build, and I honestly finally started to feel motivated for starting a full island. So that's what we're going to be doing here on the channel very soon, and I guess this video is kind of like a little bit of a preview of what kind of theme that island is going to be in. I have really missed the cottagecore, forest core, type of styles in all of the entrance themes that we've done so far, and it is honestly probably no surprise to anyone that I am going to be returning to that style when we finish with this series. But I'm going to add in a little bit of fencing into this area, again just to create some structure and sort of be in place of a cliff. Honestly, it's like the same color as a cliff, so I'm kind of hoping it'll give a similar vibe. At this point in the build, I was feeling super insecure and very unsure about what to do with the area, but I'm just trying to trust the process. I decided to place a bunch of wheat fields up against that fencing. I'm not really going to decorate the area behind the house because there just doesn't seem to be a great point in doing that. So I felt like the wheat fields would give me just enough of a backdrop to make it look like it was decorated without having to like put a ton of effort into filling that area in. Honestly, you can't even really see it in front of the fencing. So on the islands that I'm trying to like complete to release a dream address, I feel like I almost need to fill in every single tile of space, and honestly I kind of want to stop doing that. I've been saying that for a while, but I think having some spaces that look a little bit more empty are so much nicer for gameplay, which kind of brings me to my next thought, which is I really miss playing the game and actually not decorating as much. So I'm thinking about bringing you guys some more let's play types of builds, and I'd really love to know if that's something that you guys would be interested to see. I've actually never completed my museum or all of the Nook Mile rewards and things like that in the game, and I feel like that's something that I really miss grinding for. So I'd love to start doing more things like that with you guys, and I'd love your feedback if that's something that you're interested in seeing. But I went ahead and put a DIY bench here, and I'm just going to start by customizing a couple of different items that I know I'm going to be using later on in the build. But look at these codes. You cannot tell me that these are not the cutest codes you've ever seen in your whole life. The vast majority of them are from Boys Crossing, who has an absolutely fantastic YouTube channel, and if you haven't checked them out, I will link them in a card up above. But they are also an incredibly talented custom code creator, and I have just fallen in love with all of the green kind of woodsy tones. I just think it is absolutely chef's kiss. Roswell had to teach me how to get sleepy, which, I mean, obviously he doesn't know me because I am pretty much just a sleepy bean all the time, but it was thoughtful nonetheless. And then I took those sheds down because I think they look absolutely horrendous, and I ended up moving it over to the other side. So I'm running back and forth to the entrance quite a bit in this build, which I do a lot when I'm decorating like a specific area and I know I'm going to take pictures of it afterwards. I just want the overall like picture view to look really nice in the end. So you're going to see me do that probably about 1 million times throughout this video. And then next to my resident rep house, I wanted to add some like little garden steps in here, or like a little flower bed type of vibe. I love this code. I think it looks so cute, especially next to the house. And then I decided that the windmill was actually taking up space and feeling a little bit awkward with the build, so I decided to just take it away. And I do end up adding it in, but like way later in the build. And then I'm going to be kind of like alternating between using this dirt path and using the brick path that's at the very start of the island entrance. And I really love the combination of the two different paths. I think it looks so, so cool. So this honestly inspired me to make a whole island in this sort of style because I just love the combination. I think it's so fun, especially once you add in like trees and flowers and things like that around it. I just think it's so soft and so cute. But let me know what you think. Am I like off on left field here? Is it totally hideous and heinous and ugly? But for the next part, I wanted to pace out the little space here for the actual like farming area. This was a little bit weird to do. I did skip over just a little bit of my trial and error. I decided that I wanted there to be more space near the actual entrance of the island so that I can make like a little stand there or something. So ultimately I end up making these 3 by whatever wide areas, or 3 by 1 areas, and I bring them pretty far back to the house so I can have some space up front, and I think it looks so much better like that. I've realized as well that I have actually only ever used the dirt pathing in this game, and I don't think I've ever made any builds with the other types of paths. So at some point I do need to try it to like step out of my comfort zone and give the other pathing a fair shake. I've seen some really gorgeous islands done with the brick path and with that like rounded off silvery looking brick path as well, and I just think they're so gorgeous. But for some reason I always gravitate back to this very natural woodsy cottagecore type of style, and I can't stop with it. So I really wanted there to be some fencing behind just to kind of separate the different crops, but I found that one, I didn't love the log fencing. I didn't think it looked quite right, and then having it be like a whole row also sort of looked weird, I guess. So I ended up doing these like partial rows instead, which I am just checking you can get to the DIY bench, but I really love the look of that so much better. I honestly love harvest fencing. It's one of my favorite fences in the game, but lately I've been kind of loving just like the first fence that you ever get for some reason. I think that it looks so good, especially with the vertical board fencing. The only thing I wish is that you could make it dark brown. I know you can do that if you have a modded switch, but trying very hard not to use my modded switch for, you know, making builds that you guys can't easily replicate. But yeah, I wish it was just in the game because I think that would be so cool. I decided to put those rounded street lamps on either side of my resident rep house, and I think they look very nice from the entrance. And then I realized that I could just make this rounded off little brick section in front of those garden beds, and I don't know why, but I just thought that was literally the cutest thing ever. But I'm starting out by placing some crops here, and I tend to like try to intersperse the crops with like different items because I think it just kind of breaks it up a little bit and gives you something interesting to look at. So that's what I'm doing here. It's just placing a few little things down just to kind of break up where the crops are at. And I also love taking little pieces of whatever crop is being grown and just placing it on like a wooden bench or, you know, the wooden box or something off to the side. Any build by me would not be complete without a picnic area, so we're laying down a layered blanket here. I love the little wrinkles in the blanket. I think they're so cute, and it really fills this area by the entrance really nicely, so I was very happy with that placement. For the next little gardening area or farming area, we are going to place some potato sprouts. I think the plants that we got in the 2.0 update are so freaking cute, and I still continue to really enjoy it. I'm trying to get every last bit of life out of our final update as we possibly can. You know, one thing I've never done actually that was released in the 2.0 update is any cooking. Like, I've literally never explored that feature whatsoever, which I feel like is kind of sad. So again, with the Let's Play, I feel like that would be a good opportunity to explore those little gameplay elements that I just, for whatever reason, have never explored. I've also really been getting into Happy Home Paradise again lately, and I think I've done close to 15 houses so far, and I don't know, I'm just really loving it. There's something about not having to like grind for items and getting to decorate interiors, which we don't do super often in this game. That's just been a very nice change of pace, especially after finishing up this entrances series. But we made this tiny little farmer's market up in the front of the area, and I think it looks so cute with this little countertop and little bag for you to take whatever goodies you want from the garden. And then for the side area, it's not really worth it for me to like super decorate this area because we're going to be tearing this build down eventually anyway. So I decided to just completely encapsulate the area with trees just to kind of make it feel a little bit more finished, but they're always easy to remove when it's time to take this build down. For some of these entrances we've done, it's been so sad to destroy them, especially some of my favorites. I'd really like to know if you guys have been enjoying the series though, and if you have, what is your favorite entrance that we've done so far? I think my favorite has probably been the desert entrance, just because it was so different from anything that I've ever really tried before, and I had so much fun with it. That build came together so quickly because I was just like fixated the entire time and just like enjoying myself so much. So I love when that happens with games or books, when you just go into that like hyper fixation mode where you're just super relaxed and not really thinking about lots of other things. It's one of the reasons why I love cozy gaming so much. But then we kind of neglected the right hand side of this build. I'm going to start going ahead and adding things in here. I was getting a little bit stuck on what items to put in because I tend to just use like the watering can and the shovel and like maybe some boots or something. So I was trying to think of some like out of the box items to put in here. So I threw that basket in. Kind of reminded me of like going strawberry picking as a kid. I feel like they always give you those sort of plasticky style baskets when you're picking fruit in like a you pick type of place. I don't know if anybody else has ever done that before, but I absolutely loved doing that as a kid. And then for our last little section here, I'm going to go ahead and put down some wheat sprouts because I think they're cute. I was trying to use my favorite farming items in the game for this. I'm going to cut out, let you enjoy some music, and I will be back at the very end. Alright, here we are at the last final photos of the build. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this one, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you very soon in the next one. Bye!